All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to go and do some real life stuff. So, right. This is the unifying theory of all things. This explains general relativity. This explains quantum mechanics. This explains multiversal theory. This also explains all the dimensions past 9, but they're not important. The only important ones are the ones that you are going to have any sort of kind of relation to, which is the first 10. All of the dimensions before that has no relation to you, even though it's theoretically possible. You'll never experience them. They're quantifiably too small to get to, and those places higher than you are quantifiably too big for you to interact with. So, what have we learned today? Let's break it down and let you understand it. I don't want anybody coming and saying it's time, a time dimension. Again, it's not time. It's just spaces interacting with spaces rubbing together, and those rubbing together creates each and every force. The forces are, once again, gravity, the electric force, which is electric magnetism, the nuclear force, and the duration force, or the duration of all things. Duration of all things, i.e. time. And also to clear it up, just like how he said there's no time travel, because he was working with 5 dimensions. If you work with all 9 dimensions, time travel is not only possible, it's actually a likelihood. The thing is, you'll never travel back in time because you don't have enough energy to do so. You will have to literally pull yourself out to the frame of reference that you're in right now into a bigger frame of reference, basically go out of causality in 4D hyperspace and look at your 3D world from a different perspective. And if you see it from a different perspective, that means you can travel around that space in any way you want. Back, forward, anywhere in time. But the thing that stops you from doing it is the energy required. As they say, you cannot break the maximum energy requirements of your own universe to break away from said universe. The laws of causality is the stopping law. And that once we can get more energy than a universe itself, and we can use to operate it, literally a universal engine, then you can travel back in time. Only when you got a universe worth of energy that you can use that universe worth of energy to travel to wherever you want to go. But if you don't have the energy to do it, and causality states currently at this current point in time, we don't know what's going to happen in the future, that it does, you cannot break that rule. We've broken and bent a lot of rules in reality as it is. They say we couldn't do it, we did it. I'm saying that we can't break causality at this current point in time in our technological state. But if we find a way to bend that rule a little bit, we can travel forward in time. A lot fast forward in time. Because we'll just use basically what you will do is you put yourself in a higher form of 3D space, which is 3.5D, and you place your ship, which is the Alcubierre drive that everybody talks about, in that space, and you literally use the space to zoom past causality, because the space itself is moving faster than causality. So you use the space itself, and what the negative mass does is displace that matter, displace that space, so you can travel faster than the speed of light. It was never time. Time is only a byproduct of such mind-bogglingly big spaces. And so we can only experience those mind-bogglingly big spaces as time chunks. Little time chunks that we're going to get. Little time chunks. Because it's so big, so mind-bogglingly huge, that it will scare you. That's why it is the unifying theory of unifying all the dimensions. And that's what's going to fix all your equation. If you replace all your equation from that's time and replace it with space instead of time, you're going to see a lot of changes within your calculations. Now, I'm not good at math. As I said before, I'm not good at math. I'll say it again. But if you replace all your time equations, all your nice, beautiful time equations that look so elegant with space, just simplify space, interacting with space, and producing the results that you see on a smaller scale and a larger scale, you're going to come to even better conclusions than you using chunks of time, chunks of space. What you're doing is taking out a chunk of space, 4D space, and trying to work an equation with that chunk of space. You can't do it. You got to use the whole space. You got to use all of 4D hyperspace to do your calculations. If you use time, you're using the wrong tool to measure something that's so mind-bogglingly big, you'll have no idea how it works out. And then you get equations that, man, I got some things, some stuff ain't adding up. Some things aren't fitting together. Quantum mechanics should fit with general relativity, but it's not clicking, man. Because you're not using the space. It's a spatial dimension. Again, thank you just for listening, hearing what I have to say. It's a spatial dimension. No time. There's no time anywhere. Time is an illusion that these big spaces give to you. It happens from every dimension up. That force of the duration of all things happen every way up. Because we experience it. The quantifying of all those things compactify onto a space. Let's take a good example from a lower space and bring it into our 3D space. Let's take 1D space and 2D space. Say you are a one-dimensional being on a one-dimensional line, only interacting with 1D space. There are no one-dimensional people. Just let me be clear. One dimension can't house people, only energies. But anyway, I digress. So you have that one-dimensional line, and that's your world line. So when a two-dimensional object comes into your one-dimensional line, you experience that two-dimensional object as one-dimensional chunks that are changing. Let's say your one-dimensional line is black and the two-dimensional object is white. You'll see flashes of light flashing you all the time. And you want to know, what the shit's going on? What the hell's going on? What the hell am I seeing? What is going on? You don't know exactly what's happened. And all you can experience is the energies that's coming off of the space, interacting with the space, and the duration that you saw that far. So the flashes can only happen as long as the 2D object is passing through that 1D space. It's forcing itself through that 1D space. And so when you force that 2D object through that 1D space, it's experiencing time dilation from its perspective. You don't experience any time dilation. It happens instantly for you. But for a one-dimensional person, it doesn't happen instantly. It takes what? It takes the same time, God damn it. And the same time that we verify with 4D space. We take chunks of 3D spaces to explain something completely mind-bogglingly huge and call it time and using all our fancy equations. No, it's incorrect, and it's just been proven. Your 1D person is experiencing all the energies that happen when space interact, when 1D space interacts with 2D space, all the necessary forces, which we don't know what sort of kind of mass or energy that the conversion for that space to that space is going to entail. So it's going to experience gravity, it's going to experience the electromagnetic force, it's going to experience the nuclear force, and it's going to experience time, my boy, the duration of all things, because it's going to have a beginning of the space, a middle of the space, and an end of the space. And that's what happens with us. We have the beginning, which is the Big Bang, and we have our theoretically Big Bang within the three-dimensional space. And we have the end. You want to call it the Big Rip? Go ahead. You want to call it the Big Freeze? Go ahead. Whatever you want to call it, it's an end. So it technically it's not an end, because nothing's never going to end, because information can't be destroyed or information just changes, basically changes frequency. So it changes from 0 to 1, from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, and then we go back to 0. Because basically you either re-loop on yourself and go back to 0, or it quantitatively change and then we put a 1 in front of it and we call it a 10. Or it regresses from the 0 and we call it a -1. It's in mass all the time. It was there all the time. We saw it all the time. We just refused to look it in the eyes, refused to look it in your face, and now you're just telling how my equations get wrong, because you're using the wrong things, man. So my big takeaway is, once you're doing your equations, set up your equations to prove me wrong, to absolutely prove me wrong. Instead of using time for your equations, use space for your equation. Take the time and redefine time as a spatial dimension and set it up as a similar spatial dimension as all matter and all 3D, the strong weakling force, all the things we can see, all the movement and rotation, all of that. You have to treat that as a space. And once you can treat all of that rotation and gravity and all of that, those nice byproducts as a space that we are traveling through, you'll get better answers for whatever you want. I guarantee it. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Do the calculations. I'm not good at the math. Do the math yourself and you will see, I promise you, you will see that it will work out. I got another theory too that I'm working on, but it's the theory about how infinity and 0 is the same thing. But we'll leave that for here. I just want your honest opinion. Do the calculations yourself. Honest critique is well liked, and prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Bring the facts to me. Show me some videos. Give me all the data you can to prove me wrong. If you like it and you think, well, yeah, I want to try it out, say like and stuff like that. If you got conjectures to the theory, bring it in. I want objective criticism to this critique, because it explains everything for me. And I know it's going to explain everything for you. Guaranteed. And all the things that we've seen, all those spooky action at a distance, all that dark matter and dark energy, you're going to get it explained if you treat it as a space. I promise. So I'm going to sign out. This is taking a little bit of time and I got to go. But give me your honest opinion. I'm going to be posting this as a response video, as I said, to that video from Chris the Rock. So I hope you guys like the video. Share it if you want to share it among your scientific friends and get a conversation going about this, because I want to see y'all prove me wrong. But if you can't prove me wrong, then you gotta bring the test. It's testable. Actually, the theory's already been testable, and we've been testing it all the time. We've just been using the wrong calculations, but we've been testing it all the time, and it's all And we got all the things in progress already. All the nice little things are already worked out. We just had to join general relativity with quantum mechanics, and I just did that by unifying all the dimensions. So, prove me wrong. Later, guys.